Today, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at the Eustis Estate. The Blue Hills and the Eustis Estate have a really fascinating interwoven history that ended up helping both properties. And if you want to hear the full story of those two properties, you will want to come to our annual celebration on next Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Milton Hoosick Club, when Peter Gittleman will be our keynote speaker. Today, Peter will give you some insights into the Eustis Estate that will enrich your experience next Thursday at our annual celebration when he's the keynote speaker. I am Judy Lara-Jacobs, the Executive Director of the Friends of the Blue Hills.
And I'm Peter Gittleman, the team leader for the visitor experience for Historic New England.
And right now, if you could put in the comments whether or not you have ever been to the Eustis Estate, a yes or no would be great. We would just really like to know if you've been to the Eustis Estate, so a yes or no in the comments would help us out. So, Peter, can you start us off by just telling us what the Eustis Estate is and why it was preserved?
Sure. So the Eustis Estate is the 37th historic site owned and operated by Historic New England. We own sites all over New England, and this one is our newest, and frankly, it's one of our grandest. It was a site that was preserved by us because it is architecturally an absolute gem, and because it's sited on 80 acres at the foot of the Blue Hills, and it really is a marvelous place to come, visit, walk around, picnic, rock in the rocking chairs out front. The experience cannot be taken away from the environment.
That's great. So at a previous annual celebration, the Friends of the Blue Hills honored the Eustis family because of all they did to preserve and protect the Blue Hills with the Eustis Estate property. Can you give us a sense of the historic background of the Eustises?
Sure. The house actually was built in 1878 by a very young couple, which is surprising given how grand a house it was. It was a newlywed couple. They were married in 1876, had twin boys in 1877, and in 1878 started construction on this house. And the family has been in town for quite a while. Since the mid-19th century, the Eustis family has been here. And Mrs. Eustis's family, the Hemingway family, moved to town in 1866, where they bought a country estate just next door. And the two children met, fell in love, and this house is where they spent their lives.
That's great. So you thought it would be great to videotape this inside the house. Can you tell us why what's interesting about the interior of the house?
The interior of the house is really quite spectacular. I would say from a visitor's perspective, one of the most enjoyable parts of being on the interior of this house is that you can actually sit on the furniture like we are doing today, which is very unusual for historic house museums. But also the interiors are unbelievably sophisticated and really reflect the aesthetic movement in the United States. It was a time in the late 19th century when people were celebrating sort of a diversity of different types of styles, and it came together as rich, saturated colors, deep carvings. If you like Victorian architecture, then this period is right up your alley.
Is there something that people should look at in particular?
Yeah, I guess I would say the walls of this room are probably a particularly great example. Instead of simply being a coat of paint on the walls, it was a very sophisticated series of sort of amber-colored clouds that you see on the walls with interesting furniture, textiles, artwork that reflects nature, painted detail as well. So clouds on the walls, clouds on the rich woodwork.
Great. So can you give us a sense of what people will learn next Thursday at the annual celebration when they come to hear your keynote speech at 7 o'clock next Thursday at the Hoosick Club?
Yeah, what they'll learn is a little bit about the relationship between the Eustis Estate and the Blue Hills. Much of the Blue Hills was owned privately up until the 1890s when the Blue Hills Reservation was created. And you'll learn a little bit about how the land came from being privately owned to being owned by the people.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your keynote at the Friends of the Blue Hills annual celebration next Thursday, 7 o'clock at the Who's It Club. And if you would like to hear the full story of this estate and the Blue Hills, as well as learn about the silent auction and the great food and the people that are being honored at the annual celebration, go to friendsofthebluehills.org/celebrate 2017. And we hope to see you next Thursday. We'll also have another Blue Hills Alive show next Tuesday at 1 p.m. on Facebook, where we'll be interviewing an expert botanist. So hope to see you at the annual celebration next Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Who's It Club. Thank you.